story revolves around a message that gets received from another world.
I think I was attracted to the whole SETI project. You know, the SETI project is a project I believe that's still ongoing, which was search for extraterrestrial intelligence.
Anybody looking through a telescope at night really is automatically humbled. And we are seeing but a glimpse of what is there.
I was working on a science fiction project, and the science fiction project had a spaceship that was uncovered. It seemed to me unlikely that a spaceship could actually come here. I heard in some kind of scientific report that the distances were so amazing and phenomenal between the galaxies, between the stars, that you couldn't have a spaceship. So I wondered how we might have someday have contact. And I realized that they would come by information, and that they would send a message.
The concept being a large idea of, you know, a strand of alien DNA getting received via some satellite message and having us combine it with an aspect of our own DNA.
It's not truly an alien. It's based on some information that they got from a transmission that was sent to Arecibo, and they created it based on how to renovate our own DNA to create a combination that would be theirs.
And they would want to send you instructions to make a creature that would survive in your environment. So it would probably need your DNA to have all the equipment to survive on whatever the environment of the people who received the message. So that's kind of a genesis of the idea for this movie.
When you embark on a science fiction film, you're playing with colossal ideas. You're juggling boulders.
When this project came along, my own sort of interest in science and science fiction sort of collided, and I said yes to it.
Okay, well, here we just saw the girl.
I've always been attracted to science fiction films, but there was a particular quality to this one, I guess, that interested me, and that was that it's, I think, in my mind anyway, it's a thriller as well as a science fiction picture.
I guess we all must be here for the same reason. There's not a lot of science fiction material out there. It's not like there's a lot of science fiction scripts that are floating around that are being offered to people. I mean, I'd like to do more of it.
Stephen Arden, Harvard Anthropology Department, expert in cross-cultural behavior.
I've always been interested in kind of things in this area.
If it's done right, it can be really entertaining, and if it's done wrong, it can be horrifying.
I've never really liked science fiction. It gives me nightmares. That's probably the reason that my parents aren't going to let me see this. They'll only let me see the part that I'm in.
15, take 10.
Mark. Wake up.
15, Delta, take 2.
Mark. Here we go. And action.
15, Foxtrot, take 2, wild, 21.
These actors have all got a great sense of timing and humour, and a very eclectic cast in a way, you know.
A couple of trains came through here around about the time she escaped.
Ben Kingsley leaves me in awe. He is remarkable. He's just classy. There's nothing more to be said. He is simply amazing.
Ben Kingsley plays the part of Fitch, who's a scientist who's created this being.
He's kind of like Dr. Frankenstein, you know. He created this problem, and now he's stuck with it.
We decided to make it female so that it would be more docile and controllable.
More docile and controllable, huh? Well, I guess you guys don't get out much. He knows what she is before we know what she is. So, he knows what we're looking for when we don't.
She's my child. She's my creation. She's my daughter. She's the woman that I have breathed life into.
His feelings are slightly ambivalent, my thinking is, because he created this thing to a large degree and has watched it grow up and then was given this mandate to destroy it.
The decision was made to terminate the experiment, to run more research so that we could determine what we were dealing with.
At one point, they realize that this thing is not quite what they had hoped for. In other words, they can't control what's going to happen to her. So they decide to exterminate her, just end the project.
And also, what I'd like, if we have the opportunity, I'd like to privately share grief with the camera, so that when Dan says it really tore you up to kill her, I can look at him and say, I don't know. Right. Yeah. Go into complete denial. Yeah.
Well, what I was sort of thinking about doing was like, take you away from here, and then we take you on to sort of looking here at a monitor.
It's hard for us.
And
this is very good.
And then, and then she breaks out.
Because Fitch has created this young woman, he senses that she's probably the most intelligent being on the planet. He therefore has to choose a conglomerate humanoid, a group of people, and try and forge them into one master intelligence to overcome her.
You created a monster with some kind of formula you got from outer space. The damn thing got away, and now you want us to hunt it down and kill it.
Michael's the kind of action hero of the team, Michael Madsen, being a Army investigator.
Well, I think he's a man of a few words and very decisive actions.
Coming stakes, Mutt.
Hot gun. Fire the hole.
Setting stakes. Smucker.
All set? And 1, 2, 3, action!
I was very happy when Roger suggested Michael Madsen. I've always liked his work.
Being involved with some of those Tarantino movies, has a sort of another persona about him.
I did it for Roger because we made the getaway together, and we had such a good collaboration that I think that he took me seriously, which I didn't realize until I got the script for Species. What am I feeling right now?
You want to believe that nothing affects you, that you're not afraid of anything.
Forrest has a special ability to feel what others feel and feel very clearly what he feels without a lot of intellectual or other kind of baggage that gets in the way.
My character, in a way, is an outcast, too. Not in the group, because in the group we're all trying to work together, even though we're very separate. But in his life, because he perceives the world in a very different way than a lot of other people do. So he understands where she's coming from in some ways.
I really like Forrest Whitaker. I think he's a very talented guy, a very underestimated talent.
Her eyes are in front. Her eyes are in front so she can judge the distance to her prey.
I play a character named Laura Baker. Officially, I'm a molecular biologist. I've been brought on the team as a specialist to theorize about what, biologically, the species, Syl, what her next move might be or why she did what she did.
And here we go, and action!
Fell through the grate.
Can you lift up the grate?
Well,
You need to get the bolt out from under the grate.
run through the floor.
Oh my God! I've never seen anything like this.
Bitch, let us out.
I can't let you out till I know what's in there.
Let's check the other door. Open up the door! That's just plastic.
My character's called Dr. Arden, and he's a Harvard professor in comparative anthropology. And he's brought into the team because of his skill in sort of working out exactly what the possible parameters are of how this species may develop.
This human life form could be a mask. If we could see it without the camouflage.
You're right. Then at least we'd know what we were dealing with.
Alfred Molina is a great actor, just brilliant. He's in fact so chameleon-like and such a good actor, he doesn't have the reputation he deserves.
Alfred Molina has gone on to do some wonderful work. And I just saw Alfred recently in London. And he looks real good, and he's a nice man, good guy.
First of all, I want some sort of bang, 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 okay, to get Mike's attention, okay? And then I want the thing to be...
This isn't a trick or anything.
The characters in the film are very distinct. Camaraderie is sort of, I think, not really what they are. I think they start off as sort of a team, but they become more adversarial in a way as the story unfolds. Except they sort of form their alliances and have a sort of grudging respect for each other, I suppose.
We go, and action.
What's happening? Kills a girl at the club, comes home with this guy, kills him.
I mean, we get to know each other quite quickly, just out of necessity, because, you know, there's something far more important than niceties or, you know, social graces or anything like that.
Did something to her. She was angry.
She'll kill anything that threatens her. She'll kill anyone that gets in her way.
Gets in her way of what?
Her life cycle. I think she's trying to mate.
I think the group gains some harmony as we start to gain respect for each other. But initially, when we first come together, I think that we were all trying to figure each other out.
May I have your attention, please? Welcome to Los Angeles, California. This is the terminal stop for the Desert Star.
And then, of course, we needed a cell. And I remember finding, you know, somebody who could look spectacular and also could act was no mean feat.
Went in, I met with casting director, and it was a process, though. Getting this film was not easy. It was a long process. It went on for months. It stretched out for a long time.
We looked at rooms full of young women who, you know, either didn't look good enough or couldn't act well enough. And then I remember we went to New York and I said, well, listen, you know, we've got to start looking at models and people like this, people who really haven't got any experience, but maybe, just maybe, we'll find somebody who has some real talent that, you know, I can take a gamble on. And along came Natasha.
Met in New York, met the casting director, they called me back. Then I was like off again for a couple months modeling somewhere, thought it went away. They called me in Italy and they said they want you to go to LA, so I flew out to LA to do a screen test. I met with Roger, I met with Frank Mancuso Jr. They were helping me before the screen test.
She was, you know, completely, you know, I don't think she'd ever done any acting, but she looked great and she really was very convincing in those first screen tests that we did.
I remember doing a screen test there. They had set up a whole stage with a hot tub and to do the scene, I guess, where I keep Whip's head under the water and stuff. So that was part of the screen test process. And I was just very out of my element, but having a good time. And there was really nothing to lose, you know. For me, it was just, I wasn't that stressed out about it. Although as it got closer to actually getting the project, I was getting more excited.
And we got her back a few times, and of course, you know, making a decision with somebody who really hasn't done anything before is never easy. But, you know, in the end, we said, yeah, she can do it.
15, take 10.
Mark.
Excuse me?
He's dying. I flew back to New York. I found out I got the movie. I decided to pack up my stuff, and that was it. That was the end of modeling for me. I'm like, yes, my out. This is where I'm going.
Well, I prepared for the role, first of all, by moving to Los Angeles, because I was living in New York when I got the film. And also, just, it was kind of a different mindset in the sense that for 6 years I've been working and people have been working with me for the way that I look, and now I've got to kind of contribute something and be something and get into a character.
She's a beautiful girl and she's very talented, and I thought she was great in that part. I don't know how many girls could have got away with playing that, really. And it was one of her first roles. I mean, you know, she to get something like that right out of the box. I mean, I thought she did a pretty good job.
She could do it for a number of reasons. She could act, she looked great, and she was also prepared to, you know, face the nudity that was required for the movie. And those three things, I think, came together to, you know, make it so that, you know, I was more than happy to make the film with her.
They told me pretty much when I got the role that there was going to be nudity. I mean, as soon as we started negotiating the contract, that was part of it. Honestly, it didn't strike me as odd. I thought it was fitting. I mean, was she going to come out of this cocoon with clothes? I don't know. It made sense. I just remember getting the movie, and now I've got to go to the read-through. And I go into the room, and around the table sit Ben Kingsley, Alfred Molina, Michael Madsen's directly in front of me, and Mark Helgenberger, Forrest Whitaker. We're all just around the table.
Literally, I brought a cup of coffee and my hand was shaking so much, you know, so I had to kind of like let go of all that and like really just try to work with the actors and be comfortable with that. Being my first film, it was kind of, it's a little scary, you know?
Sound speeds. Background action and action.
When you're working with great people and you got a good script, it is a lot of fun, and I had a great time with Roger, I really did.
We've got monsters, we've got kind of weird computer stuff, we've got kind of these extraordinary sort of effects.